Nigeria is a country that sits on some of the largest oil reserves on Earth. It pumps over 1 million barrels of crude every single day. And yet, for decades, it imported almost all of its petrol from Europe. Think about that. Raw oil drilled from Nigerian soil, shipped overseas, refined into petrol, then shipped back to Nigeria. Every year, the country hemorrhaged over $20 billion on that absurdity. One man decided to end it.
His name is Aliko Dangote, and as of 2026, he is worth over $32 billion, making him the richest black person on the planet. He did not inherit a tech company. He did not strike oil by accident. He started with a $3,000 loan, a bag of sugar, and an idea that Africa deserved better. Today, we trace the full story: childhood, struggle, empire, and controversy. This is how Aliko Dangote became the king of Africa. April 10, 1957, Kano, northern Nigeria, then still under British colonial rule. Into a house of merchants, traders, and influence, Aliko Muhammad Dangote is born. His name, given by his maternal grandfather, means, and this is not a coincidence, the victorious one who defends humanity. Even before he could walk, someone had already written a manifesto on his head. The Dangote Dantata family tree reads like a who's who of West African commerce. His great-grandfather, Alhassan Abdullahi Dantata, was the single wealthiest man in all of West Africa at the time of his death in 1955. His grandfather, Sanusi Dantata, was a titan of Kano trade. His father ran a transport company. His mother, Maria, was a businesswoman in her own right. So yes, Aliko was born into privilege, but wealth without wisdom disappears. And Aliko lost his father early. When Muhammad Dangote died, the young Aliko was placed under the care of his maternal grandfather, Sanusi. It was under Sanusi's watchful eye that the boy's business instincts were first sharpened. He has told this story himself. In primary school, before he had any formal business education, young Aliko would buy entire cartons of boiled sweets, break them down, and sell them one by one to his classmates. He kept every kobo of profit. He didn't spend it. He reinvested it. This is not a cute story. This is the origin of every principle he would build his empire on. Buy in bulk, add value, reinvest, repeat. He went to the Sheikh Avi Kumasi Madrasa, then Capital High School in Kano, then Government College in Birnin Kudu. Finally, he studied business administration at Al-Azhar University in Cairo, one of the most prestigious Islamic institutions in the world. By 21, he had his degree. By 21, he had a plan. 1977. Nigeria is booming. Oil money is flowing. The government is on a massive infrastructure push and has authorized the importation of 16 million metric tons of cement. The country is hungry for building materials. A 20-year-old Aliko Dangote goes to his uncle, not his grandfather, and asks for a loan. His uncle gives him $3,000. In today's money, that's around $12,000 to $15,000. Enough to start, not enough to fail comfortably. Dangote moves to Lagos and sets up a small trading firm. He imports sugar, cement, salt, and basic food commodities, then sells them on to distributors. Nothing glamorous, pure hustle. Here is a story they don't always tell. During the cement import boom, dozens of ships loaded with cement got stuck in Lagos harbor. The logistics were a nightmare. The port couldn't handle the volume. Some ships reportedly sank. Others sat for months. The importers, including young Dangote, received something called demurrage fees, compensation for the delays. Lesser men would have quit. Dangote used the demurrage payments to buy trucks. He pivoted from importing to logistics, building a cargo transportation business to distribute the cement he couldn't even unload properly. Where others saw a disaster, he saw infrastructure. Then came the 1980s. Nigeria cycled through dictators, military coups, and economic collapse. The markets were unstable, regulations unpredictable, and doing business required navigating a minefield of bureaucracy and corruption. For nearly 2 full decades, growth was slow, grinding, and precarious. The man who would one day be Africa's wealthiest person spent his 30s watching his dreams get blocked at every corner by a broken system. He didn't leave. He didn't pivot to another country. He stayed, and he waited for his moment. In 1999,
Olusegun Obasanjo won Nigeria's presidential election, the first democratic transfer of power in over a decade. The country exhaled, and Aliko Dangote saw his window. He made a critical decision that separated him from every other wealthy Nigerian trader. He would stop importing and start manufacturing. While others were content to be middlemen, buying cheap abroad, selling expensive at home, Dangote asked a different question. Why are we importing sugar when we can grow sugarcane here? Why are we importing cement when Nigeria has limestone? Why are we dependent on foreign supply chains when we could own the entire process? This was not just business strategy, this was ideology, and it would change everything. In 2000, Dangote's group acquired the Benue Cement Company from the Nigerian government. 3 years later, the Obajana cement plant in Kogi State was commissioned, at the time the largest cement plant in sub-Saharan Africa. Then he listed Dangote Cement on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. He retained 86% of shares. When cement demand exploded across Africa's construction boom, his wealth didn't just grow, it multiplied exponentially. In 2011 alone, his net worth jumped from $2.1 billion to $13.8 billion in a single year. In 2007, he became Nigeria's first billionaire. In 2008, he became the first Nigerian ever listed on Forbes' World Billionaires list. In 2013, Bloomberg reported his wealth grew by $9.2 billion in a single calendar year, one of the largest single-year wealth gains in history for any person on Earth. By 2014, Time magazine named him one of the 100 most influential people in the world. He had peaked at number 23 on the Forbes Rich list, the highest ever ranking for an African.
By 2016, Dangote had cement, sugar, flour, salt, pasta. The Dangote Group was the largest conglomerate in West Africa, employing over 30,000 people across multiple African countries. His name was on bags of sugar, packets of flour, and concrete walls from Nigeria to Ghana, Ethiopia to South Africa. But he wasn't done. He approached the Nigerian Ports Authority to claim an abandoned piece of land in Lekki, Lagos. The plan? Build an oil refinery. Not a small one, the largest single-train oil refinery on planet Earth. Capacity? 650,000 barrels per day. Cost? $20 billion. Timeline? Years. Opposition? Enormous. European refineries had been selling Nigeria expensive imported petrol for decades. Local fuel importers, well-connected businessmen with government ties, had built fortunes on that dependency. They did not want Dangote's refinery to succeed. He has called them the oil mafia. The battles have been public, fierce, and ongoing. He has accused Nigeria's downstream regulator of allowing excessive imports to undercut his refinery's prices. He threatened to export all his refined products to Africa and Europe, rather than supply a market that was being deliberately flooded with cheaper imports. He filed, and later withdrew, a 100 billion naira lawsuit against regulators and major fuel marketers. The refinery began production in 2024. Early results were remarkable. In 2025, the facility pumped $5.8 billion into Nigeria's foreign reserves from petroleum exports alone. South Africa, Kenya, and other African nations began lobbying to buy from Dangote directly as the Middle East crisis disrupted global supply chains. But operational setbacks hit. Technical issues and labor disputes dropped production below 300,000 barrels per day at points. The fight for crude oil supply, Nigeria is absurdly importing the crude oil drilled from its own soil, continues. The man is not finished. He is fighting. The controversies. No empire this size is without shadow. In 2016, the Panama Papers, the largest leak of financial documents in history, linked Dangote to 4 offshore shell companies and 13 others through family and business associates. His team denied the links and insisted all companies are legitimate. No charges were ever filed. Critics have long pointed to his closeness with successive Nigerian governments, from financing Obasanjo's re-election to sitting on presidential advisory committees. Was it patriotism or protected monopoly? The question remains open. His cement business controls an overwhelming share of the Nigerian market. His sugar refinery processes 70. Lesson 1. Stay when others leave. Dangote built his empire during military coups, currency crashes, and political chaos. He did not relocate to London or Dubai. He stayed in Nigeria. He bet on Africa when the rest of the world was writing the continent off. Every time the market punished him, he bought more trucks.
His refusal to flee is itself a business strategy. Lesson 2. Move from trading to manufacturing. The single biggest leap in Dangote's trajectory was the decision to stop being a middleman. Importers make margins, manufacturers make markets. When he started producing cement instead of importing it, he didn't just grow his business, he redefined Nigeria's industrial capacity. Ask yourself, are you in the distribution business, or can you own the production? Lesson 3. Think at continental scale. Dangote never thought about his cement factory in one city. He thought about cement across 40 African nations. He never thought about one refinery. He thought about ending Africa's petroleum dependency. His ambitions were always bigger than the borders of Nigeria. That scale of thinking is not arrogance. It is the prerequisite for building something that lasts. Aliko Dangote started with $3,000 and a loan from his uncle. Today, he is worth over $32 billion. He has lost billions and rebuilt. He has fought governments and oil cartels. He has buried 3 siblings and continued. He is not finished. The refinery is not at full capacity. The empire is still expanding. Zimbabwe, Zambia, Ethiopia, Tanzania. The man born to be victorious has not yet declared victory. If this story moved you, hit subscribe, because next week we're telling the story of another billionaire who built something no one believed was possible. Leave a comment. Who do you want to see next?